What is going on, everybody? John Middlekauff, 3 Now Podcast. Subscribe to the page. Subscribe to the podcast. You guys know the drill. If you're listening live on AMP, glad to have you. Make sure you listen to all of our content live every single week. A lot of football talk coming up. Very excited. But this weekend, I found myself watching a lot of baseball. I watched the Yankees. I was like, is Aaron Judge going to hit 70 home runs? He's already got 2. He's only played 3 games. No, I want to go to a Yankee game. If I lived in New York, do you know what I would do? I would download the Gametime app, the official ticketing partner of this podcast. I type in the promo code JOHN, John, and I get $20 off. And I would go watch Aaron Judge probably hit a home run, because that's usually what Aaron Judge does. If you're listening to this and you want to go to a baseball game, they only last 2.5 hours. You're in, you're out. Enjoy a little vitamin D, have a couple pops, enjoy yourself, and do it on me. These inflationary times, I got your back, saving you $20. Promo code JOHN, download the Gametime app, fastest growing ticket app in America. Promo code JOHN, $20 off. Don't even need to thank me. Just use the promo code. And because you guys have, they're the official ticketing app of this podcast. We appreciate you guys. They appreciate you guys. Do it on me. Concerts, comedy shows. I got you. Promo code JOHN. Odell Beckham Jr. It was originally reported that he wanted $20 million, which was insane. And it has since been rescinded to $15 million, which I also find somewhat laughable in a vacuum. He's not a $15 million player, given his production and given that he has 2 ACL tears in the last 40 months. Now, I think we all can relate to this at just a different price point. Once you start doing something you like or start making a lot of money, for someone to change your lifestyle or get you to do something you don't want to do, they usually have to pay a lot of money, right? Or get to an amount of money that, listen, I'm going to throw a number out there. You're probably not going to match. I'm not even that interested. And that happens sometimes. And I started thinking, Odell has made a lot on the field. He's also made a lot off the field. Made a ton of money. Are we sure Odell, is willing to play for $3 or $4 million? Because to me, that's kind of his going rate. He's like a $3 or $4 million player, given that he's got multiple injuries. And when you look at his production, he's got 7 touchdowns since 2019, right? Part of the problem right now with DeAndre Hopkins, he makes $19 million. He averaged a career low in 2022 for yards per catch. He obviously was suspended for some PED issues. The money doesn't really add up for the production and some of the red flags and some of the trends. It's why you can request a trade all you want. No one's trading for you at that price point. That's why Odell Beckham can ask for $15 million. Don't blame him, because his life's great. He's already worth a ton, but he's not a $15 million player. And I don't see anyone, especially currently, going to crack at the $15 million number. Now, maybe if we get in a training camp and a guy tears an ACL or an Achilles, a team is desperate and someone gives them $8 to $10 million. But I will be stunned, given his age, given his limited past production over a 3 or 4 year span, and given his injuries, if he gets a big time contract. Don't blame him at all for asking for a bigger number, but it just doesn't add up. So I think you have to ask yourself, does he really want to play that much? Is this life or death? And when I say life or death, I don't actually mean life or death. I just mean, does football mean everything to the guy anymore? I don't know. I mean, it might not, and I think it's very, very, he's a bizarre player, because his peak, he was really, really special. The Giants fans know his speed was elite. He was so dynamic with the ball in his hands. He was so unreal as a punt returner. I mean, the dude was a legitimate star. But then the moment he got paid / he got traded to the Browns, his injuries, it ain't the same. This is 2023. It's not 2015. And I just wonder if where we're headed with Odell is maybe he's not headed to an NFL team anytime soon, and it's just going to be when his number comes way down. Or maybe somehow he backs into some guys get hurt and he gets way more than, I think he's worth, but way less than his $15 million number. Hard Knocks. They are down to 4 teams, because to be eligible for Hard Knocks, you can't have a new coach. and you can't have made the playoffs in the last 2 years. So like the Patriots, for example, they don't have a coaching change, but they made the playoffs in 2021, so they are exempt. So the teams we're looking at are the Saints, the Bears, and the New York Jets. And the Bears have been pretty adamant. They want no part of it. To me, the Saints would be a little boring. I think the Jets are, I mean, honestly, if you just, once Aaron Rodgers is traded to the Jets, if you just had to do a draft of what teams would you want to see on Hard Knocks, I don't see how the Jets wouldn't be near the top. I mean, honestly, they feel like a lock. Big market, star quarterback who's polarizing, and a really talented team, and a coach. Because to me, you need a star player and you need a head coach with some personality. The Commanders are another team, right? They would make, actually, they're not Commanders. No, no Commanders. I'm confused. I thought there were 4 teams, but I only named 3. Maybe it is the Commanders. Did they make the playoffs 2 years ago? Or was that 3 years ago? I think it was 3 years ago. And I think the Jets just end up being on Hard Knocks. I mean, they make too much sense. You got Robert Saleh, good looking, big personality. He can carry you. Aaron Rodgers content can carry you. And let's face it, and I've been saying this for a while, Hard Knocks is kind of a thing of the past. You know, it's kind of boring. We don't get the inside view of the GM and the head coach talking about, you know, the 53-man roster, who's going to make it, who's not going to make it. It feels like it's run by the league in terms of no one wants to hurt anyone's feelings. And I get why. If I was a team and I was in charge of a team, I wouldn't want to hurt anyone's feelings either. But that was a huge reason that Hard Knocks really shot out like a rocket ship when I was like in high school and college, because it was so raw and real. It was reality television, like legitimately. You would get those personnel meetings where they were like ranking guys, who was going to get cut, who might not make it, what draft pick sucked. And those days feel like a thing of the past. The Lions had its moments, but even that, it's a little cheesier now. So at least with the Aaron Rodgers drama alone, I think it could carry Hard Knocks at minimum for a couple episodes.